This parable is complex. It's almost two different parables. The first half, you could say, is a parable of people who refuse God's invitation to the wedding banquet. So this is the rich family friends and prominent people that the king invites, and they make excuses why they can't go. But then the second half, or the second parable, is about the beggars who are invited, and then the poor chap who doesn't wear the proper garment. Not only does he get disinvited, but then he gets tortured, right? So it almost seems like the king is psychopathic. So to me, the parable, or the half of the parable that might apply best to us here in church or listening this evening, is the parable of the beggars who are invited. We are poor. You have nothing without Jesus Christ. We might think we're rich because we have all these material possessions. We have a nice, flat screen, 70-inch TV. We've got an iPod, iPad, iPhone, Alexa. We've got a nice car, nice job, nice resume, nice history, nice house, nice kitchen, great food, good wine. All these things, add to our wealth, we think, but they don't. Now, they don't take away, and they're not evil, but those things don't make us rich. Only God does. Only God makes us rich. And the more we can see that we are poor, that we're a beggar in the street, the more then will we be ready to accept that invitation from God. Okay, so the people who, and I hate to say this, and I don't mean this judgmentally, but the people that are invited to the king's son's wedding reception that don't go for a variety of reasons, these would be the Catholics who don't come to church, or don't pray, don't act as if God even exists. They have this connection to the king. They're baptized, confirmed, but they just totally ignore his request. Whereas we who are here tonight have come, or we who are listening have responded to the invitation because we see that we are poor and we have nothing. So there's a couple things going on in that. One, again, just to acknowledge that we need God. And especially when we suffer and something bad happens either to us or to the world, and we want to turn away from God, that won't make our situation better. It'll only make things worse, because without God, then we literally have nothing. So it's okay to see that you're poor, but also to realize that we don't remain in that state of poverty because God invites us to the wedding banquet. Now, that poor fellow who doesn't wear the proper wedding garment, this is interesting. This isn't about the king being crazy, psychopathic. He's just in a rage. But to me, it's about mindfulness, consideration, focus on God, not self-absorption or selfishness. So the beggar has been invited to the banquet, and what he basically does is he gets the invitation, and he just, okay, great, he just shows up. He doesn't really think and stop, where am I going? What's going on here? Because if he had realized, this is a wedding reception, and not just any wedding reception, this is the king's wedding reception, man, I might want to kind of clean up a little bit. And I might even want to get rid of my rags and try to buy a new suit or a dress, something fitting for the occasion. It's not going to be the nicest $5,000 dress like I'm going to the Oscars, but something nicer than just these poor, dirty rags that I'm wearing. Now, if you think to yourself, well, that's not fair. I mean, the beggar's got nothing. He doesn't have clothes. He's just showing up the way he is. No, the beggar could. Remember, he's begging. He's pretty resourceful. He's survived on alms this long. So why not just keep begging, and instead of spending that money on himself, on food and drink, because he's going to get that just in a few hours when he goes to the wedding reception, get that money, save it, don't spend it on yourself for one day, and go and buy a new suit or a new dress. It might seem foolish. Well, I'm only going to wear this new suit or new dress this one night, and it seems like a waste of money, but it's not. It's getting you into the banquet. And who knows, not only are you going to be fed that night, fed better than what you would have been able to provide for yourself based on those alms, but who knows, maybe you'll be offered something from the king and your life will change. But the point is, the beggar doesn't break out of himself. He just walks along and goes into the dinner party. He's not mindful. He's not considerate. And it's not that the king kicks him out of anger and rage, but really the beggar is missing the opportunity to be close to the king, to say, I appreciate this invitation. I want to celebrate your son. I'm here for you. And then the graces that would flow from that. But the beggar is just, again, he's ignorant, or he's purposefully self-absorbed and self-preoccupied. So to me, that's the second key in the spiritual life. We're beggars. We need God. That's the first point from the parable. The second key, or the second point, is to be mindful of God and to not be self-absorbed, and to take the risk to surrender and trust in God, to go out and buy your new suit, your proper wedding garment. It might seem like a waste of money. It might seem foolish, but to trust that this is what God requires of you, who've been invited to this great banquet. So what is your wedding garment? What is your proper suit or dress to be in the wedding reception? What do you need to do to really take a leap of faith and surrender and trust in God? Is it say a certain prayer? Is it go to confession because you haven't been in 20 years and maybe confess that one particular sin that really is embarrassing or that is really shame-producing in you? Is it to come back to church? Is it whatever, to reach out to that estranged neighbor or relative? Is it to spend some time in prayer, 20, 30 minutes, even though you want to watch TV instead? What is your wedding garment? It might seem pointless, but trust in God and surrender, reach out to him. You won't regret it, and you'll be able to enjoy those rich, choice foods and wine in heaven. Amen.